Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about something very, very important that's been on my mind a lot recently, which is the political and economic state of the world right now. No, that's a joke. It's actually about Gen Z and the fact that all the older generations have told us our entire lives that Gen Z is so soft, Gen Z is always addicted to their screens, and they're never going to accomplish things because they've been given everything. But honestly, I see something very different in Gen Z, and I think it has gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. So I think there was some merit to what the older generations were talking about. I would say maybe 5 years ago, but recently, especially, I've just seen a revival in Gen Z as a whole. Our hope, our joy, and our ambition, and we want to get a lot done. One person that I was listening to last night said there's two words to describe Gen Z, and it is ambitious and anxious. And honestly, I couldn't even think of two better words to describe myself personally. And I know that it's just, most people in Gen Z are like me in that way, where we want to get a lot done. We want to accomplish things. We want to become successful. But at the same time, we're very anxious. We're socially anxious sometimes. Me personally, it's more about health stuff I get anxious about. My future I get anxious about, which I think is more common than some other, anxieties that people have. But like I said, I just see this revival in Gen Z where people are finding what's really making them happy. And for me, I think it's a religious thing. I think people coming to Christ and becoming like strong Christians and having strong faith is giving a lot of people a lot of joy. And people find it in a lot of other things as well, where they find these productive jobs that they can do. Even with social media, they become a fitness influencer and they start encouraging people to get in the gym and maybe encouraging people to faith and encouraging people to take these supplements that are going to better their lives. And Gen Z is very bold. I think Gen Z is very bold when it comes to their beliefs, what they think is right, and what they want to get done in life. So I mentioned it in a short, but I just moved down to Florida, and the amount of people that are recording themselves in the gym, in a lot of other places in the U.S., I think they would get judged, and they'd back away from recording themselves in the gym because they're afraid of being judged. And it's true, you do get judged when you're doing that in the gym, but it seems that people here just don't really care. They don't care if they get judged. They care about getting done what they want to get done. And I think that is something that I don't even think the older generations had, really. I mean, they were more cut and dry. They didn't have as much opportunity when it came to getting a job that they enjoy. Whereas us, you can basically have any job with social media, and you can basically do anything and make money nowadays. And that's why I think, we are more happy, because we notice that we can do something we enjoy and make money. Whereas the older generations, they didn't really have that opportunity. They kind of a lot of them had to get jobs that they don't like because they wanted to support their family or their future family if they didn't have one yet. But now we see, and we are taking advantage of the fact that you can make money doing literally anything. And all the older generations have constantly said during our lives, we all heard it, that, oh, you guys are so lazy. You guys got everything handed to you. We went through all the hard times, and now you're reaping the benefits, and so you're going to be lazy, and you're not going to push progress forward. But there is so much that Gen Z is doing. I really think it's just a great thing. And then especially religious revival. It's something that I hold dear to my heart. I've been a Christian my whole life, basically. And it's weird. Just the joy that I see in people nowadays is incredible. I think this world just tends to get more extreme in both directions, and that happens in almost anything when you really think about it. Politically, the right and the left just keep becoming more extreme on their respective side, it seems to be. And yeah, in terms of people being either happy or unhappy, it seems like the happier are getting happier, and the people who are sad and depressed and lonely are getting more, sad, depressed, and lonely. And I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing or if that's just a neutral thing. That's just how the world is. But that is what I realize right now. I also see in Gen Z people taking care of themselves more than previous generations did. And this is also because of research that we have. People smoked cigarettes in high school. My mom smoked cigarettes in high school, and she would go to the smoking area and smoke with the teachers, and it's just how it was because they didn't really know the negative side effects of smoking cigarettes. Whereas nowadays we know the negative side effects of essentially everything, maybe aside from like vaping, that's still very popular. But I see so many of Gen Z in the gym, people around my age in the gym, taking care of their bodies. There's less going out and drinking. I think, drinking culture, I don't know if it's especially in the U.S., because I know Europe has probably a bigger drinking culture than the U.S., but definitely there's a pretty big drinking culture in the U.S. when it comes to my age. I'm 22, so college age and 20s and 30s. Even people in their 40s and 50s, there's still so many guys going out and getting plastered every weekend with their buds. And it's not very healthy. It's very, very unhealthy, actually. And I think it's actually becoming more common that there's those 40, 50-year-olds than there are the 20s and 30s. And at least the gap is closing in that. I don't think that's necessarily true, but the gap is closing where people in their 20s just aren't going out and drinking as much anymore. They want to take care of their bodies. Instead of doing that, they want to actually get good sleep, and they want to go to the gym on a Saturday morning, and they want to work out with their friends, and that's how they find enjoyment, and they get to build a body that they want, look better, they can feel better, they can live longer, and just all of these things. It just makes me so optimistic for the future in general. I think a lot of Gen Z also feels this way, the same way that I do, where they're more optimistic about the future and of this generation moving forward, becoming adults, becoming families, pushing the future forward in terms of technology and such. But in our own lives, we are still anxious. We are still a little pessimistic, and that is definitely true for me. I don't want to talk about everything like, oh, woe is me, and this is what I'm going through, and I need help. But the only reason I say it is because I just think I know a lot of people feel this way, and it's not just me, that we're very pessimistic about what's going to happen in our futures, and we doubt that we can actually get the success that we want. And I think a good way to fight against that is to realize that everything is going to be okay. You're not going to die unless you do, which is, well, you got bigger issues than your future success in terms of money if you're going to die. But in just enjoying like where we are in life, I just last night went to a thing called Unite. It was at a college campus, and essentially they just have a massive church service / worship service in a college stadium. So it was at a college basketball stadium. It was awesome. And there was like 7,000 people there. Probably 6,000 were college-age students and people around my age. They're just going, and they're on fire for God. They're on fire for Jesus and their faith, and they want to grow that, and they want to bring their friends with them. And this is where they're finding real joy, and they're getting real joy. This is not fleeting like the success that we're scared of losing or scared we're not going to get. There's other things that just bring actual real joy that isn't money, that isn't fame, that isn't women, that isn't success, that isn't glory, that isn't friends, that isn't relationships, everything. It's so simple. It's so simple. There's joy in God. And it's not going to leave. It's not going to leave. It's the most cliche thing ever that money will not bring you happiness. But it's weird that none of us really take it to heart until we learn it ourselves. Again, this is just something that I'm not perfect. I'm not immune to this. I do think this all the time. And I worry. And then I always get humbled in some way and just remember, oh yeah, I forgot this money that I'm looking forward to in my future, this family that I'm looking forward to in my future, this success and this fame, it's nothing. It's not guaranteed, first of all. Even if I get it, I can lose it at any time. In the end, it's not what really matters. It's not what really brings me joy. It's not what brings anyone joy, true joy. And we're all going to go through issues. It's just the truth. Even if you're successful in the future, you're still going to go through things that are equally or harder than things you're going through right now. So just keep that in mind. I guess that was a little bit of a rant. Again, in this channel, I want it to be more gym content, but I don't know how to talk about gym content like this. So if you have any ideas, go ahead. But I do like talking about things that are important to me on long form because I can offer a relatable point of view. maybe not the most creative and the most like the smartest, because I'm not the smartest guy, but I am relatable in terms of just the problems that I'm going through and that most people are going through, and the things that I think are obvious, but we just don't take to heart. So again, thank you for listening. You could go watch my full day of eating if you want more gym content, but I also did talk a week before about Gen Z again, why we're actually unhappy. So there we go. So maybe I'm talking against what I said the other week, but either way, I am optimistic about the future in terms of overall Gen Z and just like what we're going to get done in our lives and how we're going to be and how happy we're going to be and how we feel psychologically and physically. So have a good day, everyone.